For dinner on Monday, we are having this roasted red pepper potato soup. I made a recipe video for this a while back because it's one of our favorite soup recipes and it's a great vegetarian option. So today's Meatless Monday, so that's what we are having, and then just some orange and some star fruit. We tried these for the first time last week. Been buying them at Kroger and they're pretty good. We all like them. So that is what is for dinner on Monday. For dinner on Thursday night, I'm making these like Asian stuffed cabbage roll thingies. I was looking for a recipe to use up some of our Napa cabbage, or Asian cabbage, I guess you could call it, I don't know, from our CSA. So we're trying this out, kind of nervous. So in here I've got a pound of ground turkey. We've got some chopped up onion, 4 cloves of garlic minced, 2 carrots shredded, 2 tablespoons of ginger, fresh ginger minced, and then some seasonings like sesame oil, some sriracha, rice vinegar, soy sauce, and then a little bit of salt and pepper. Oh, and a cup of cooked rice. I think that's it, but I'll put the recipe below. So now I'm just rolling them up in the cabbage leaves, and then I think you just pour a cup of water in there and bake it at 400 degrees. So that's it. I hope they come out good. Alright, so here's dinner, the cabbage rolls. Jared and I both tasted them and we liked them. So we got just some sriracha sauce on top, and then I didn't really know what to serve it with. So we're just having mac and cheese and some star fruit. So that is what is for dinner on Thursday, and I will link the recipe below. For dinner on Sunday night, this is technically not dinner. We went out to lunch today and we had a bunch of leftovers. So that's what we'll be eating, our Mexican food leftovers for dinner, Jared and the kids. But I'm going to go ahead and make this recipe. This is a good night for that because I don't know if anyone will like it. But I got a whole bunch of different stuff in our CSA, like rutabagas and turnips and kale. And I don't know what to do with rutabagas and turnips. So we're going to try out this recipe that I found on Pinterest. It's called roasted root vegetables with tomatoes and kale. So right here I have a mixture of carrots, a potato, and then some rutabagas and turnips, and then a whole head of garlic. As you can see, I peeled them, threw them in there, tossed it with a few tablespoons of olive oil and a teaspoon of kosher salt, and I've got the oven on 450, so I'm going to roast these for about 45 minutes. This is about 2.5 pounds worth of veggies. Okay, so I forgot to film, but while the vegetables were cooking, I chopped up an onion, about a half a cup's worth, and I sauteed that in about 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and then I added about a tablespoon of tomato paste, and then a 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes, and a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, and I just covered that and let it cook on low until the veggies were done roasting. And I chopped up some kale, 2 cups worth, and I just now added that, so I'm just going to let that simmer for about 5 minutes until it wilts, and then I'll add this to the pot, season with salt and pepper, and it will be done. I've already been tasting the veggies. They taste really good, so I'll let y'all know how it is. Okay, so I've been eating it. It is pretty good. There's something in there that has kind of a weird flavor to me, but I don't know what it is because I've never really eaten rutabagas or turnips, but just that one something tastes weird. But everything else tastes pretty good. I think it would be a good side dish. I don't think I'd make it again as just a meal on its own. And just having some steamed broccoli with it, and Jared's having his leftover Mexican food.
You're eating what?
Rutabaga. You wouldn't know. Just kidding. It's my first time too. But that's dinner on Sunday. For dinner on Monday night, we are making this creamy chicken and wild rice soup. It's a very cold night, so a good night for soup. So right here I've got some wild rice cooking. It's 3/4 cup of rice, and I'm using this one. And it takes like 45 minutes to cook, so we've already got that started. And over here I've got a tablespoon of butter melting, and I'm going to add, I chopped up 1 cup of onion, 1 cup of celery, and 1 cup of carrot, and then 1 clove of garlic. So I'm going to go ahead and add those veggies and let them saute until they are soft, and then I'll add the garlic at the end and let that cook for about another minute or so. Okay, after letting the veggies saute, I'm going to add 4.5 cups of chicken broth. I'm going to use a little bit of mixture of chicken and vegetable broth. That's what I have. And then we've got a 1/4 teaspoon each of dried sage, dried marjoram, dried thyme, and dried rosemary. So, and I'm also going to season it with some salt and pepper. And then I'm about to open up this package of chicken and add that chicken, and that's how we're going to let the chicken cook. I'm going to bring it to a boil and let it cook. Okay, so I added the chicken and let it come to a boil over medium-high heat. And then we're just going to put the lid back on and let it boil for about 15 minutes until the chicken's cooked through. Okay, so after the chicken cooked through, I removed it and shredded it. Turned the soup down to low. The rice is done now. So I'm going to add that to the pot. Okay, and I'm just going to leave that on low, and I'm going to get started on a different little part that goes to it. Okay, so I rinsed out the pot that I was cooking the rice in, and I got 6 tablespoons of butter. Yeah, lots of butter in this recipe. 6 tablespoons butter melting over medium heat, and I'm going to add a half a cup of flour, and I'm just going to whisk that for 1.5 minutes. Alright, and then after letting that little mixture cook for 1.5 minutes, I'm going to whisk in 1.5 cups of milk. Okay, so I let that cook for a few minutes until it got thick, and now I'm going to just add it. So the after I added that milk mixture, it just needs to cook for about 5 minutes more. And then you just add a half a cup of heavy whipping cream and some lemon zest. We're not quite ready to eat for a while, so I'm just going to let this cook on low, and then we can eat it. I guess it's healthy until you add all the cream and stuff, but it's really tasty. So that's how you make that soup. Okay, so the soup was a success again. Jared says he really likes it. There's Miss Vacation on in the back, and you can really taste the lemon zest that you add at the end. It's really good. So I'll put the recipe below.
Check out this gingerbread house.
Let me know if you'll try it out.
I mean, this is no gingerbread house.
For dinner on Tuesday, we are having breakfast for dinner, and tonight I made waffles. Don't usually make those, but this is Pioneer Woman's waffles, and they're really good. I've been tasting them. It's the first time I've ever made a recipe where I had to beat egg whites, so that was pretty fun, but they taste really good, so I'll post her recipe below. And then we just have some eggs with spinach and cheese, an apple. The 4 of us are splitting an apple, and Jared has bacon. I'm not eating bacon, or the girls. But yeah, that's what's for dinner, and made a lot of waffles, so I'll be able to freeze some, which is a good thing. Look at the cookies we made yesterday. Aren't they so cute? It was a lot of fun. But there it is. For dinner tonight, we are having this 1-pan cheesy chicken, broccoli, and rice. So sorry it's so loud, cooked some onion, chopped like about just a little bit of onion and some olive oil. I cooked that until it was soft, and then I put it through in a pound of chicken that I chopped up into bite-sized pieces, and I seasoned it with salt, pepper, and garlic salt. So I'm just cooking that until the chicken pieces brown, and then I'm going to add 2 cloves of garlic and let that cook for another minute. Okay, after I added the garlic and let that cook for a minute, push it all to one side of the pan, add in another tablespoon of olive oil, and then throw in 1 cup of rice. Let that saute for a couple minutes. Alright, and now I'm going to add in 2.5 cups of chicken broth and let that come to a boil. And then after it comes to a boil, I'm going to lower the heat and cover the pan with a lid and let it cook for about 12 minutes. And you want to make sure you season the chicken really well. The first time I made this, it was kind of bland, but the next time I added plenty of salt and pepper and also some garlic salt, and it was really good. Okay, after the 12 minutes, we're going to add in 2.5 cups of broccoli florets. We're just going to stir that in, and then we're going to cover it back with the lid and let it cook on low for another 8 minutes. Or until the broccoli and the rice is tender. So the broccoli has cooked through. Right here I got 2 cups of cheese. The recipe calls for sharp cheddar cheese, but I have a bunch of Mexican blend cheese on hand. I bought 2 big bags at Costco. So we're just gonna use that and hope that it comes out good. So I'm gonna, like I said, I got 2 cups. I'm gonna stir in about half a cup of cheese. And then the rest I'm just going to sprinkle on top and put the lid back on and let that melt. Let it sit for a couple minutes and dinner will be ready. So I'll put the recipe below, as always. For dinner tonight, we are going to have some tomato soup and grilled cheese. So for the tomato soup, I warmed up 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil and 1 tablespoon of butter. And then I threw in some finely chopped onion and a clove of garlic that I just peeled and smashed. So I'm letting that cook on medium-low for about 8 minutes. And now to the onions and garlic, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of flour and just stir that, mix it all together. And now I'm going to add 3 cups of broth here. I have a mixture of chicken and vegetable broth because that's what I already had open in the fridge. And I'm going to also add, I've got 1½ teaspoons of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, and it calls for a sprig of fresh thyme, but I didn't want to purchase that, so I'm just using dried thyme. So it's about 1/3 teaspoon. I hope it's not too much. Okay, and we're also going to add a 28-ounce can of whole tomatoes that I pureed. Okay, now I'm going to turn it up to medium-high heat and bring it to a simmer and stir it so that the flour doesn't stick. And then once that comes to a simmer, I'm just going to put it on low and cover it with a lid and let it cook for about 40 minutes. And then when it's done, it'll all be pureed in the blender again. Okay, so there's supper. We got our tomato soup. After it cooked for 40 minutes, I just pureed it in a blender in 2 different batches, and then I'm topping it with some fresh dill that we still have left over from our CSA, and then we're just having it with the regular grilled cheese, nothing fancy. We had some white and some yellow cheddar in the fridge, so that's what we're using, and then just some steamed broccoli seasoned with salt, pepper, and lemon juice. So there is a good meatless meal for you. What, are you excited?
Tomato soup!